Hey Fight fans, I'm Sarah Davis and you're watching Fight News Now Extra. We have some big updates from the UFC, including the next Ultimate Fighter, a possible deal with the War Master, and UFC on Fox 6. Stay tuned to hear what our MMA panel has to say about it all. Let's get started with Newsmakers. We could see a version of the Ultimate Fighter in our own backyard before the end of the year is up. Dana White recently said that a Tough Canada is in the works, and it would join other international spin-offs of the show, which began in 2005 in the States. Last month, when the UFC's president was asked if Josh Barnett was joining the world's biggest MMA promotion, he said he didn't know. Then Barnett's profile popped up on the UFC website, and both parties denied it. Now, the chances of Barnett fighting for the UFC are greater than ever, and White said it will probably happen. UFC on Fox 6 goes down this weekend, and Clay Guida will be making his featherweight debut against former Sengoku featherweight champion Hatsuki Yoki. Here's how Guida thinks the drop in weight will affect his performance.
My teammates in practice and my coaches feel that I've been, had more snap, more pop on my takedowns and punches and things like that, and kicks and whatnot. So obviously that was, when I was weighing in the 150s. So we'll see, come fight night. I'm thinking to be, even faster and just more swift on my feet.
And the Fox card will see Quinton Rampage Jackson face Teixeira in the co-main event. Rampage has made it clear that he's happy this bout is the final one on his UFC contract because he says the promotion has not treated him well. Check out Dana White's response.
If you ask me, do I think we've treated Rampage Jackson well? I think we've been great to Rampage Jackson. Financially, personally, professionally, and every other way you could be cool to a guy. He doesn't feel that way, and you know what? It's one of those deals where, me and Lorenzo love what we do. We love being involved, and we love doing great things and growing the sport, making guys more money, doing all the things that we've done over the last 13 years. But at the end of the day, any job you have, I don't care what you do for a living, you have to be happy with what you're doing and with the people you're doing with. And if Rampage isn't happy with us, then what are we going to do? The guy needs to go somewhere with people that are going to make him happy.
Those are the top headlines from the MMA world. Let's take it over to our panel. John Pollock, John Ramdeen, Robin Black. Does Rampage go out with a bang this weekend?
No, I think Quinton Jackson is going to be exiting the UFC with a loss on his record to Teixeira, and I am not convinced this is going to be Quinton Jackson's last fight with the organization. Once he dips his toe into free agency water in 2013, I think he's going to quickly realize that, maybe I have some problems with the UFC, but I'm not getting a paycheck like the UFC is going to provide anywhere else.
I disagree with that. I think Rampage has decided he knows that this is a business about people, and he does not like being in business with people that he doesn't like, and he says that he's actually willing to take a pay cut to go and work with people. And he knows he's going to take a pay cut, but at the same time, I'm sure when the time comes, Bjorn and Viacom are going to tell Rampage that he can be one of the faces of the promotion, and in time, he'll be able to make some big paychecks with Bellator.
So at what point do you tell Quinton of your setup where you're going to have to fight 3 times in 3 months and what the reaction is going to be? That, to me, is the biggest problem here, that Bellator inevitably, as they want to grow and acquire talent like this talent at this level, they are not going to be down for this tournament idea of fighting 3 times in 3 months.
Well, that gets you to a point where you're like, well, what is somebody worth? And if they're worth changing your structure for, okay, you're not going to be fighting in the tournament, you're going to be a special attraction fighter. There are ways around
And
it.
I think that is the best thing to do, is to use Rampage in that capacity. Bellator's motto is where title shots are earned. Well, Rampage has put his time in, and he's earned shots at whatever the champion is in 205 pounds.
Yeah, and I don't know that that would undermine anything too dramatically in a world where we have, guys who are coming off a loss and a suspension fighting for titles, So I don't think so. I mean, the biggest thing...
What does that say to your perception here if you're Bellator? Like, theoretically here, he loses to Teixeira, and that earns him a Bellator light heavyweight title shot? Like, is that not just reading feeder league to you if you're Bellator here?
No, it's not his fight against Teixeira. Everybody knows that Teixeira is a top legit guy. Chael Sonnen has said that he believes he's the best 205-pound guy.
And Chael Sonnen just
King Mo's
lost.
a former light heavyweight champion. Why does he have to go through
Well,
the tournament?
Rampage fought John Jones, and he fought Rashad, and he fought Shogun. He fought some of the biggest names in
All
the
people
sport.
he lost to, but
We also live in a world where Chael Sonnen just lost a fight and is fighting for a title. Nick Diaz just lost a fight and is fighting for a title. Frankie Edgar just lost 2 fights and is fighting for a title. So I don't think it's going to freak anybody out.
The issue here is not signing Quinton Rampage Jackson. It is a tournament format. This is not an issue where it's going to be one and done here. This is going to come up in the future when there's guys that maybe are disgruntled with the UFC. What are you going to do? Just suddenly, the problem here is not the fighter. The problem here is the tournament model. And that's something that as you continue to grow, guys, once they're making more money, they're not going to be willing to just fight 3 times to make a name for themselves like the Rick Hahns of the world.
No, and that's why I think that Bellator, I'm sure they'll be willing to evolve. Right now, this is their model, but the higher profile they become, they're going to be able to, be attractive to some of the free agents out there, and they're going to have to adapt to the landscape. And if that means that they have to, some of these guys that are bigger names, that they bypass the tournament and get immediate title shots, why not? And if they lose those title shots, you still have super fights for them.
Quickly, we heard Clay Guida there, Ariel Helwani from MMA Fighting, speaking to him. He finds himself on the undercard here, taking on Hatsu Hiyoki. Should be a very entertaining fight, but it certainly seems that Clay Guida is kind of paying penance for that Gray Maynard fight and not being on the main card.
The thing is, it might be an entertaining fight.
Might be,
What
like any
happens?
fight.
What happens if he gets lit up by Hatsu Hiyoki, who is very well-rounded? I think we might see Clay Guida holding down the Japanese fighter for 3 rounds. I think it just depends on the outcome.
That, and also, this card is so stacked. There are fights on that undercard I would see on the main card of any show.
There you go. Saturday, main card will not feature Clay Guida.
Nope.
Nope, but I'll still be watching. Thanks, guys. Okay, don't forget that we'll have the live weigh-ins for UFC on Fox 6 this Friday, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern. And stay tuned now to find out what flyweight champion Demetrius Johnson has to say ahead of his first title defense.